This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on March the 4th in the year of our Lord 2026. Got a lot of great information for you tonight, so let's just jump over here, click Murtech on Rumble from Murtech.com, and this is my Rumble channel right here. This is the video we're going over tonight, episode 1848. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are watching it. So let's go ahead and click into that and close out the live chat. Let me slide down here and click the show more button and go over, expand the description box to go over the information we have tonight from Dan Bongino and from Dr. Steve Turley and from Newsmax and from Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I have a bunch of shout outs here from Lizzie Lou 224 just started following my channel. RLS, I believe that is, 2026, just started following my channel. Bigfoot 1952 just started following my channel. Jan Singleton just started following my channel. Pecanned Cheese just started following my channel. Jana 1211 just started following my channel. God's Will Shall Be Done, praise the Lord, just started following my channel. And Cap Thamlin just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content, and I hope you give me a chat if you're tuned in. If you're not tuned in, if you're watching this later, give me a comment. Okay, it looks like RLS 2026 and Coastal Drifter commented on a short little snippet, a clip, a short that I put out today. Cotton Ball 31 and Patio Furniture 63 commented on my daily news wrap-up from last night. WBS reposted my episode 1747. Uncloudy and Just Me VLT gave me a comment on my episode 1847. WBS commented on my extra 629C and on my extra 630A. So thank you very much, folks, for your comments and reposting my videos. I greatly appreciate that. Let me give this a thumbs up. Boom. Okay, there we go. Hang on just a second. I'm going to call. All right, sorry about that. I'm still not 100% over being in the hospital last week, but here we go. Speaking of comments, though, comment of the day is from Cotton Ball 31. Let's take a look at that. Okay, Cotton Ball 31, this is from my daily news wrap-up last night. Says, so many people are brainwashed by the mainstream media. Yes, that's absolutely true. Look back to Biden, and they basically claimed he was the best thing since sliced bread. Didn't they, though? Amazing, even though he couldn't finish a complete frickin' sentence. Anyway, we overheard at Walmart back when all the prices were going through the roof, Walmart is raising the prices just to make Biden look bad. Right. Has nothing to do with maybe trying to make a little profit after the wholesale prices went through the roof, as Cotton Ball said. There's no hope for some, apparently. Good grief. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Cotton Ball. Pretty much 100%. But, you know, we can hope for some people. That's why I keep putting this information out. All right, well, it looks like we got another comment here. Persian Christian shows. Okay, well, that was from Patio Furniture 63, so I give that one a thumbs up too. All right, that being said, let's jump back here and get this started with Dan Bongino. MAGA Civil War, really? Episode 2465. Let's see what he has to say.
All the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
You know, when I was actively involved in politics in Maryland, I'm walking out of an event one time, right? And this very, very smart older gentleman who'd been involved in Maryland politics on the Republican side for probably close to 30 years, he says to me, I'm going to tell you something. I watched your speech inside. He said, I liked it. It's very good. He said, but one of the things I'd encourage you to do is avoid assertions and ask more questions. I said, really? Why is that? He said, because when you ask a human being a question, no matter what, even if they hate you, the human mind can't stop trying to answer the question, no matter what. It just engages the mind better than an assertion. He says, if you're talking to a voter who may lean a little liberal, but may be open to voting for you, he's like, if you just make an assertion to them, hey, big government sucks, they go, I don't want to hear it, earmuffs. But if you ask them a question, tell me how big government's worked for you, it'll engage them. And I thought, that's genius. And I don't know, how long when I run for office, 15 years ago or something like that? I've practiced that ever since. So I put in the headline today, and then on social media, MAGA civil war or liberal media BS. And I'll answer it for you right now. It is obviously liberal media BS. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no MAGA civil war going on. I don't know how many polls, whether they're CNN, Harry Enton polls, Real Clear Politics. I have a poll coming up. I'll show you a bunch of them. Receipts matter. There is no civil war in the MAGA movement. I'm not telling you that there's not disagreements about significant policies in the MAGA movement, from tariffs to Iran to our dealings with Israel. Of course there are disagreements. But you suggesting there's some kind of massive civil war getting ready to fracture us like San Andreas Fault, you have to back that up. You made the assertion, not me. If you're telling me there's a civil war, back it up. Show me some substance. The answer is you can't. Because the polling data, when you ask real people in the real world, shows overwhelming majorities of Republicans support this president's policies. I'm just telling you, bro, those are the facts. You make the assertion, back it up. I've got a bunch of stuff for you today. Please don't fall for this, because the liberal media is fertilizing this ground of the pseudo-MAGA civil war, because there's nothing they want more. They want a civil war. They want us in the cannibalism theory. You know cannibalism theory. I talk about it all the time. How the left, whenever they win elections, because there's power in canceling people, they start to cancel themselves on the left side. Don't do that. Don't pay back the favor by doing that here. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, with Dan Kane this morning, gave an amazing briefing. We're going to play a little bit of that. I've got a big show for you today. Folks, today's show brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition, brickhousenutrition.com. Go pick up lean today if you have and values. Spots, it provides a treat. And you fellas, got Justin, man, in the con today. Guy looking over his shoulder like this, intently watching, observing, watching, judging. He's got his Don't Get Dead shirt on, the judging, watching. Okay, so Secretary of War Pete Hegseth gave a briefing this morning, and I want you to pay very close attention. I have two short snippets from it, but they're, I think, the most important. The whole thing was important. These, I think, are the most important to get out there. Folks, you cannot wage a war as a foreign adversary of the United States, as any country. You cannot wage a war without command, control, and communications. Now, look at those three C's. Command. Do they have command? They're all freaking dead. I'm just telling you the obvious. We wiped out their entire hierarchy of upper-level mullah leadership. You're now getting into kind of the mid-level leadership, and they're going to be wiped out soon, too. President Trump even said as much yesterday. They don't have command because the command of the IRGC and elsewhere, their special units, their police forces are dead. So command, no good. Control. If you don't have command, you certainly don't have control because there's nobody to control because the command is dead. Every time someone steps in to take control after a previous commander stepped in and is wiped out, that person dies too. It is very difficult to maintain command or control without command and no control because you're dead. And the threat of death is on the horizon. When you're worried about dying, you're not so much worried about tactical deployments. Finally, communications. They don't have communications. Folks, I can't go into too many intimate details given kind of the things I was exposed to. However, it is very difficult, and I think this is fairly obvious. You can read about it in open source. It is very difficult for Iranian commanders trying to control their military. You get what I did there, right? If you can't communicate, because every time you communicate, doesn't really work out. They have none. It has led to total chaos. Now, we're not even a week in yet. Again, I don't want to jump to either side. We're not doing mission accomplished bullshit. All I've asked respectfully, and I mean it, to opponents of the military strikes, I'm not kidding. I respect your opinions. I'm glad we're not a bunch of robots. I've got Sean Davis from the Federalist on later. I love, good friend of mine. Has some different opinions from me, but filibuster, other things, that's fine. That's fine. That's the best part about being a conservative is we're not freaking robots like the left. However, all I ask is that if you're going to judge the movie in total, just wait for the movie to end. It's fair to you to, and by the way, maybe you think the beginning of the movie sucked. I saw a movie once about where I forget the movie. I went down when I was in Fletsy in Georgia. The first half an hour was terrible. I almost left and rescued itself. But I'm free to say it's a good movie, but the first half an hour sucked. You may not like the beginning. That's okay. But if you're going to judge the whole movie, just wait for the movie to end. And we're not even a week in. This is Secretary of War Hegseth this morning talking about those 3 C's I told you about: command, control, and communication, and how it's like scripting a football game as the offensive coordinator, basically wiping out the coach and everyone else. Now no one even knows how to get in the huddle anymore. This is a great analogy. Check this out.
We will avenge them, no doubt. But I liken Iran's predicament to a football team who scripted the first 20 plays of a game. The team knew what plays to run because their first few drives were scripted. But now that the game has started and the blitz is on, they don't know what plays to call, let alone how to get in the huddle and call those plays. Iran's senior leaders are dead. The so-called governing council that might have selected a successor, dead, missing, or cowering in bunkers, too terrified to even occupy the same room. Senior generals, mid-level officers, enlisted ranks, they can't talk or communicate, let alone mount a coordinated and sustained offensive. That's not great for morale. The Iranian Air Force is no more, built for 1996, destroyed in 2026. The Iranian Navy rests at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Combat ineffective, decimated, destroyed, defeated, pick your adjective.
One of many 63 in the chat. Dan, I'm totally anti-war, but some people just need to be blown up. Try to pick the best chats of the day. One of many 63. I'm with you. Everybody's anti-war. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but nobody likes war. Sometimes, unfortunately, in a complicated world full of real evil, demons, and I'm telling you, folks, evil is real. It is not some, fantasy you read about in some fairy tale in 3rd grade. It is very real. And in a world full of evil, sometimes good men have to step up and stop that stuff by aggression and violence. We wish it weren't the case, but it is. How many people are they gonna kill? How many times are we gonna let them threaten us with a potential nuclear weapon? Do you understand this is one of the things I'd like, and I'm gonna play another clip of Secretary Hegseth in a second, so this is a good one too, about what complete control of the skies actually means. Remember, command, control, communications. You're missing one of those 3, your war effort's screwed. You're missing all 3, you are in real freaking trouble. I'm just telling you, having spent a good year involved in this stuff. Folks, these Iranian mullahs get a nuclear weapon. There's not going to be a negotiation. There's not going to be a negotiation. You know that Netflix movie, the Catherine Bigelow movie about the nuclear strike? It's exaggerated, a lot of it. I get it. However, if you watch the movie, I think it's interesting. It's one of those movies, again, where that's one of those movies where the beginning's great and the ending, I think, was terrible. So you can judge a whole movie, but you still got to wait to the end. Oh, this is awesome. And then it ends and you're like, what? You know the movie I'm talking about? I don't remember the name. But I saw it in D.C. with Paula. Interesting movie, exaggerated if you understand how the whole system works and everything. But it's about a real nuclear strike, what it would look like and how quickly all this goes down. Folks, if they get a nuclear weapon, There's nothing stopping them from using it. They don't practice or intend on practicing the former Iranian mullah regime mutually assured destruction. They're not worried about dying at all. It's just assured destruction to them. They don't care about the mutual part. They don't care about their people. They don't care about dying. They will launch a nuclear weapon at us the second they get it because they can. That's it. Well, why would they do that? That's dumb. Because they're evil. I just said that. President Trump has clearly laid out with Secretary Rubio and Secretary Hegseth that their efforts to build a ballistic missile and drone-shielded nuclear program that would basically make it asymmetric warfare for us taking it out in the future is just not going to happen. We're taking it out now. You may not like the beginning of that movie in the Republican Party. I don't care what the lefties think in the Republican Party. That's fine. Have it out. Respectfully, I'm open to it. However, I agree. Folks, the United States military has completely wiped out. I want you to understand the battle damage assessments here are off the charts, okay? The Iranians had their air defense systems supplied by other foreign adversaries of the United States. The Russians. There's stories in the Wall Street Journal and other outlets about China's efforts to arm Iran with anti-ship missiles that can take out some of our ships right off their shores there. This is a real problem. A real problem. President Trump acted decisively now to head off what could potentially be nuclear hostilities and a world war later. And I'll bring China into this mix in a second. But I want you to understand the complete, I don't even know how to describe it, disappointment, which seems like understatement of the millennia, that the Iranian mullahs and their military must have, that they invested all of this money and time in an air defense system from the Russians and weaponry from the Chinese that totally shit the bed. Totally, completely. We have dominated their skies. They look up in Iran right now, and all they're seeing is U.S. and IDF forces. There are no Iranian forces in the sky of any significance whatsoever. They have drones, and they're still launching their ballistic missiles, which is going down every day, because every time a launcher pops up, they know the location, big neon lights go off, boom, dead. Height is might. Height is might tactically. Height is might if you're a sniper. Height is might from the skies when it comes to airborne bombardment. Height is might. You control the skies, you control the country. Here's Secretary Hegseth just a few minutes ago talking about how we have complete air dominance right now. Check this out.
In a few days, in under a week, the two most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. I hope all the folks watching understand what uncontested airspace and complete control means. It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military, finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders, flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Great information. And you can't argue with what he's saying. I mean, if they have control, I don't understand, what's taking the Iranian, whatever leadership that they have left, to say, okay, maybe we should back off on this. Let me go ahead and click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dan Bongino Show. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's go ahead and jump back here. And got a chat here from Woodstock 7. Anyone think Jesus was an outlaw? I don't think that he was an outlaw, but obviously there were people that did think that he was an outlaw. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten crucified. Okay? They thought he was an outlaw and convinced the Romans to allow them to crucify him. So, I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way, that was not an outlaw, is not an outlaw. But unfortunately, in some situations or in some definitions, unfortunately, he did get crucified because there were some that thought he were an outlaw. But thank you so much, Woodstock 7, for your input and your chat. I appreciate that. All right, let's close down here and let's jump down here and see what Dr. Steve Turley has to say. Qatar strikes Iran as Gulf states join Operation Epic Fury. Very interesting, huh? Let's check it out.
So-called experts told us was impossible. Qatar, one of the wealthiest nations on earth, America's most important military partner in the Gulf, the country that spent years trying to mediate between Iran and the West, has just carried out offensive strikes inside Iran. And they're not alone. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, the entire Gulf is mobilizing as we speak. The Abraham Accords, which began as a diplomatic handshake, have just become a full-blown military alliance. And I'm about to show you why this may be the single most important geopolitical transformation of our lifetime. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you understand this absolutely seismic shift that just happened in the Middle East with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Senior Western diplomatic sources have confirmed that Qatar has carried out strikes inside Iran over the past 24 hours. Israel's Channel 12 reported it first, and then Qatar's own foreign ministry spokesperson essentially confirmed it. Now, this is in retaliation for what Iran has been doing since Saturday. Iran has launched 3 cruise missiles, 101 ballistic missiles, and 39 suicide drones at Qatari territory. They hit Al Udeid Air Base, the largest American military installation in the entire Middle East, damaging a clinic on the base. They targeted an American early warning radar system. They went after energy facilities in Mes Said and Ras Laffan industrial city, Qatar's lifeblood, halting LNG production. A drone struck a power plant in the industrial area of Doha. Shrapnel from interception rained down across the country, injuring 16 people, one reportedly critically. But then came the moment that really changed everything. Iran tried to hit Hamad International Airport, the main civilian airport in Doha. Nearly 10,000 passengers were stranded. They had to be housed in hotels because airspace was completely shut down. Qatari officials just confirmed that Qatar received no advance warning from Iran for any of this, and that Doha currently has no communication with Tehran whatsoever. Now, that's pretty astonishing, given that Qatar has stuck its neck out for Iran, right? Al Jazeera is based in Qatar. They hosted Hamas's political office. They maintain open channels with Tehran. They position themselves as sort of like, the indispensable go-between in every Middle Eastern crisis. But now they've been given no choice but to join in on this war, but on the side of the U.S. and, amazingly, Israel. Something that would have been absolutely unthinkable a short time ago. It's being widely reported that Qatar has indeed struck inside Iran. The specific details of the strike, at least as of the making of this video, have not yet been made public, other than that they were carried out in the last 24 hours. We do have confirmation that Qatar's Air Force shot down 2 Iranian Sukhoi 24 Fencer tactical bombers that were flying toward Qatari airspace, making Qatar, as I understand, the first nation shoot down Iranian aircraft in this conflict. So the Qatari Ministry of Defense did say that the jets were warned before being engaged and were shot down over the waters of the Arabian Gulf. Qatar also intercepted 7 ballistic missiles, 5 drones in the same engagement. Again, just to underscore this, since Saturday, Qatar has faced a staggering total of 3 cruise missiles, 101 ballistic missiles, and 39 suicide drones, all launched at its territory. So it does now look as if Qatar has entered this fight, and it's not just Qatar. In just the first 36 hours, Iran targeted the UAE with 165 missiles and 541 drones, killing 3 and wounding 58. 45 missiles and 9 drones hit Bahrain. 97 missiles and 283 drones hit Kuwait. 13 missiles and 36 drones targeted Jordan. Iranian drones struck the Fairmont Hotel in Dubai, residential buildings in Bahrain, Kuwait International Airport. Dubai's airport, the busiest international airport on the planet, was hit by a drone and had to be shut down since Saturday. Even Oman was attacked. Remember, Oman had been mediating those nuclear talks with Iran. Iran's own foreign minister essentially admitted that they've lost controls. They said that the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard's decision to attack Oman was, quote, not our choice, and that Iran's armed forces are now independent and somewhat isolated. That's diplomatic speak for our communication lines have been severed, and now the entire military infrastructure is fracturing. And so the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, all 6 nations, that's Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Oman, they held an emergency ministerial meeting, and they invoked Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. For those who don't know, Article 51 is the inherent right of self-defense. So they effectively set red lines and signaled readiness for collective self-defense. The GCC warned that continued strikes would risk transforming the Gulf from a defensive shield into an active theater of response. And so now we're getting reports that Saudi Arabia is preparing to strike Iran very soon. So what's really happening here? What force is really rising up in the Middle East? Well, that is what we're about to find out. And let me tell you, it's something we've never seen before. But first, let's pivot to your health, shall we? Are you familiar with something called cacao?
Okay,
Well,
he's going into a
blame
commercial
you.
here, so let me go ahead and get past that, and then we'll get back to the news.
In fact, % off and take control, building a before someone else alliance again. The Abraham Accords brokered by Trump in his first term were always, really always at their core about building a civilizational alliance against the Iranian threat. So Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, Kazakhstan, and now effectively Saudi Arabia and Qatar. What began in 2020 as diplomatic normalization has just become the most powerful military coalition in the Middle East since the Gulf War of 1991, and arguably even more significant because this time Israel isn't sitting it out. Israel's fighting right alongside the Arab states. By contrast, Iran's strategy was based on really a classical sort of territorial calculation. So they believed that if they hit the Gulf states hard enough, that the Gulf states would panic. They turn on the Americans and demand that Washington stop the strikes. That was Tehran's bet. Pressure the neighbors, fracture the coalition, exploit the fear of economic damage to break the alliance apart. And it backfired. And it didn't just it backfired spectacularly. As one analyst at the Gulf International Forum put it, frankly, perfectly, Iran crossed a dangerous line. The aim may have been to raise tensions in the Gulf to pressure the U.S., but it backfired. And instead, it pushed the Sunni Arab states closer to the U.S. camp in this war. And that is exactly what's happened. Another analyst noted that Iran, in one day, turned the Gulf states from a posture of neutrality to a revived understanding of the threat that Iran poses to the region and to the world. So far from intimidating its neighbors, Iran's attacks have served only to unite the Sunni Arab world to the strategic advantage of the United States and, astonishingly, Israel. But the key here is that these nations have been quietly building this bond for years now through nothing less than the Abraham Accords, through shared intelligence, through joint military coordination, through the new CENTCOM Air and Missile Defense Coordination Cell at Al Udeid that opened just this January. The Gulf Cooperation Council is now reactivating joint air defense systems, launching reconnaissance flights across regional airspace, and coordinating military operations in a way that hasn't been seen in decades. And now Qatar has officially joined this fight, and Saudi Arabia appears to be next. Make no mistake, what we're witnessing is the birth of a new civilizational order in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords are no longer just a diplomatic framework. They are a military reality. A civilizational bloc, the United States, Israel, and the Sunni Arab world, forged in the fire of Iranian aggression, standing together against the last great obstacle to peace and prosperity in the region. By attacking every Gulf state simultaneously, Iran didn't just lose a war. It handed the United States the single most powerful coalition of allies in the history of the modern Middle East on a silver platter. With America as its architect, Israel as its sword, and the Gulf states as its foundation, a new Middle East is rising, and it has MAGA at its very center. Hey, gang, if you enjoy...
All right, there you have it, folks. He always has great news, great information, and he does his research. Okay, so let me show you here that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And there we go. Close out the chat again. Folks, if you could give me some chats tonight, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, I've got 23 people watching right now on Rumble. If all of you could just give me a thumbs up or a hi or whatever, that would be fantastic. That would definitely make my day. Okay, Newsmax. Before we get into this, yes. Now, I believe Wendy is going to talk a little bit about this. If not what I share with you this evening, she'll be in my daily news wrap-up talking about it. Jasmine Crockett apparently did not win her primary in Texas. So she is out. Her House representative seat is not available. And there was one other bit of good news, which I think is better than the Jasmine Crockett news, is Dan Crenshaw from Texas didn't win his primary either. He is one of the biggest, worst rhinos that was in the House of Representatives. That guy, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. And I'm sure that I couldn't throw him very far. I'm just not as strong as I used to be. But that guy deserved to be taken out of his position to run for a representative of Texas. I've seen many times where he has fought Donald Trump on what he wanted to do, and actually, bucked against the conservative Make America Great movement. So I'm happy about that. I hope you are too. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments what you think about Jasmine Crockett and Dan Crenshaw. Hit the road. Okay, let's check out Newsmax here and see what they have to say.
Oh boy, war still going on. 4 days so far, and it could go on for we don't know how long. I do believe this is necessary. I also believe that those crazy mullahs have been encouraging people to take up arms across the world. right, to do jihad for whatever crazy stuff that they believe in, the fundamentalists, the radicals in Iran, those who have been, well, a number of them have been killed. They export terror everywhere they go, right? They love it. They love it. Let me see Iran all the way over there. Okay, but it's coming here. It already has. Unbelievable. You saw this in Austin over the weekend, right? Well, a couple of new details, how they're treating law enforcement who are total heroes here. First, the killer. There's substantial evidence as he wears his Property of Allah shirt that this was a jihadist who took up arms as Al-Qaeda and ISIS have encouraged militants across the world to pick up weapons, to self-deploy, right? When the circumstances would suggest that it might please, well, somebody in the religion, for instance, Allah. This is the shirt he was found in. That is the Iranian flag on his shirt. This gives us a big clue as to how this individual was motivated. What do we have on this guy? He was born in Senegal, came here, killed 2, wounded 14. The Quran was found in his car. Now, this is what really drives me crazy. The police got there so quickly, in a matter of seconds. The police who shot the killer now face a grand jury. Now, this is not standard, although it is somewhat becoming standard in blue cities in the wake of George Floyd. Now, when you're facing a grand jury investigation, they can indict you if they really want you to, that they want to. This is kind of like an assumption of guilt. I don't like it. Usually a shooting by a police officer is up for internal review, but to formally put it in front of a grand jury automatically, that's because of George Floyd. I want to see this killer again, and the crazy uproar and overreaction to his death. Police officers who save the day and save lives are undergoing a grand jury investigation. That is not right. So I wish those cops the very best. This, I do believe, was terrorism motivated by radicals in Iran. They've been exporting terror for decades.
Yes.
Kind of makes sense.
Yep.
Information.
All right, there you have it, for folks. Just a short little ditty there about sleeper cells. I don't know if this guy was a sleeper cell or not, but Iran. This is nothing new for them, though. Okay, this video does come from Newsmax. I am subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Giving them a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, I want to jump over here and share my creator program statistics for you. I've hit every category. Hours streamed from Rumble. I need 30 for the month. I've got 45.5. Rumble Premium exclusive hours streamed. They want me to do 5. I've got 6.1. Hours watched this month. My requirement is 200. I've got 608. This is the 4th of the month, okay? I've got 3 times already what the requirement is for my Rumble Premium or Rumble Studio requirements. This is so that they will promote my information out, so more people can hear the truth, which is the goal of what I'm doing here right now. Total unique raids this month, I need 5. I've got 12. The only area that I'm lacking is total unique chatters this month. And a unique chatter is someone that has not given me a chat in the chat box on my live stream. If you haven't given me a chat before this month, please do so. I've got 16. I need 20. Okay, I need 4 more. If I could get 4 people to give me a chat tonight, I've got 22 people watching right now. 22 people. 22 is more than I need in total. So if I could just get 4 people that hasn't chatted with me, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or, you know, get out or whatever, that would be fantastic. Okay, let's jump back here and let's see what Wendy Bell has to say about enough ammo to fight forever. Ooh. This sounds serious. Let's see what she has to say about this.
You know, what's interesting about having multiple children, and I don't think by any stretch I have a large family. I think maybe for today's standards, we would say it is. We have 5 boys. But my father-in-law was one of 14. My dad was one of 6. If you're one of the baby boomers out there, there's a really good chance you're part of a very large family. And now it's kind of common for people to have 1, maybe 2 or 3 kids. We have 5, and it's fun to watch them. But with 5 different personalities, all boys, you've got a lot of different things going on, a lot of different souls that I pay attention to, perhaps a lot more so than my husband, because that's what moms do. They're great friends, and I will say something that's very unusual about my boys. They're extraordinarily close. They range in age from 26 down to 17. And the 5 of them, if they're not talking commonly, they play video games together in different states. And my heart is happy because I hear them instead of going out on a Saturday night. My seniors in high school will stay home and play games with their oldest brothers. It's a thing to behold. But when something happens with one of them, or one of their paths doesn't work out the way they'd hoped or they'd wanted, it's hard because this is the way of life. It is how it works, after all. You and I are living testaments of that. And my kids have had a front row seat to all things with me. Different jobs, different challenges, different things to navigate. Joe's been the brick wall, been a doctor. He's always been consistent. It's what dad does. He always does the same thing. Doesn't change. And I've been all over the place, up and down and in and out, this and that, fired, rehired, fired again, rehired, fired again. And here we are today talking to you every day about what we believe is important. And sometimes I want to say to my sons, look, sometimes the universe sends you messages. Sometimes God comes into your life when you don't expect it. But I always say in 2 weeks, think about this. Give it 2 weeks. Whatever you think is so big, whatever you think is so disappointing, whatever has you not eating or not sleeping or pacing at night or feeling agitated, give it 2 weeks. Because you'll start to see there's a plan. I believe that. I had to be hit in the face a couple times with the frying pan to slow down and to realize those doorknobs I was trying to get into weren't working for a reason. And so I have 2 of my 5 sons right now, possibly even 3, who are walking up to a new challenge, a new chapter, a new possibility, a new something. And they don't know how to get in. They see the house. The door is locked. The windows have gates on them. They can't get through. And thinking about climbing up and over and down the chimney, it seems a little risky. And they're all kind of a little agitated in their own worlds. And I want to say to them, okay, this is how it goes, right? This is how life is. This is how you figure out things that don't happen for you today allowed other things in a week or 2 months or a year from now to happen. I mean, how many things that you thought were cataclysmic in your life ended up being for the better? How many of you had a relationship fail, whether it was a marriage brief or forever long? And for whatever reason, it didn't work and you decided to walk away or do something else, and you're crestfallen and you're empty inside and you're embarrassed and ashamed and confused. And then all of a sudden, something makes sense. And you realize that if you hadn't had all of those experiences, you wouldn't be able to open the door with the key that you now hold, perhaps to a home you never imagined. I wish that for my sons. But this is the rocky time, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? I believe that God plays a role in everything we do. I'm not an extraordinarily religious person. I don't go to church anymore. Bad people changed that for me and ruined that for me. I'm okay with that because I believe you can be deeply connected to a spirit, to a higher being. You can be devoutly loyal and not go prove it to your neighbors. And I believe God is guiding all these things going on in our world. And I know that a lot of you are struggling right now. And you can feel like he left you out. He's not listening to you. Things are tough. Hang in there. Because he always roots for you. The reason I see this and I say this is because I'm so tired of the people out there who are rooting against us. Why is it that the Democrats want America to fail? It's not just you failing. It's not just Donald Trump failing. It's not just this idea of MAGA, which demanded an America first American government, right? They want our country. They want the legacy of this great place to be of failure. Hakeem Jeffries saying, I think America's going to fail. This war isn't going to work. Donald Trump and this military aren't going to be successful. Can you imagine? The leader of the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives doesn't love America, doesn't believe in her, does not believe in your ability, does not share your dreams, does not have any of that, doesn't look at the flag the way you do. Why on earth is that man in Congress? Why on earth do we allow people who are not for this herd, this team, this experiment, this great fledgling constitutional republic? If you're not for it, why are you here and why are you in Congress? I want you to hear Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He was asked this very question, and you have to ask yourself, because the Democrats are against everything you're for. If you're a parent, they're against your ability to decide what's best for your child. If you go out and you hump it 40 hours a week, busting your tail, they're the ones who want to tax you more. These are the people who wanted to demonize you because you weren't ready to roll up your sleeve and plunge something into your body that you weren't comfortable with, and they vilified you. These are those people. And it makes me sick. But I do believe that God is ever present. And you are being shown a slideshow so that you know exactly what we're up against. Listen to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, asked specifically by a member of the media in the Pentagon yesterday. What about Hakeem Jeffries? Dude wants America to fail. What do you say, Mr. Secretary?
Jeffrey's statement that the Iran mission will end in failure. What kind of message does that send to our enemies, and what does it do to the motivation of our troops?
Well, I've been through that movie before, with the Democrats rooting against the country. Our generation saw that in our battlefields. I think it's pretty unprecedented and unfortunate that it would occur 4 days in to an operation where, as the chairman laid out, America's best are operating in an incredibly challenging environment where they're having incredible success, but they're meeting a determined adversary. And he's been privy to briefs that we've provided. He knows how effective this has been. He's being disingenuous, which we're used to right here.
A classy answer when I should say that dude shouldn't be in the House of Representatives. He shouldn't have the ability to put a lapel pin on that's an American flag when what he wants to do to it is drag it on the ground, urinate on it, and then light it on fire. Well, I got word for you, Hakeem, you hack. You endless zero, you feckless nothing who does nothing but bitch and moan and lie and obfuscate and distort and defend crazy. Donald Trump put out something last night. This is what he said. The United States munitions stockpiles have, at the medium and upper medium grade, never been higher or better. As was stated to me today, we have a virtually unlimited supply of these weapons. Wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies, which are better than other countries' finest arms. At the highest end, we have a good supply, but are not where we want to be. Much additional high-grade weaponry is stored for us in outlying countries. Interesting. Sleepy Joe Biden spent all of his time and our country's money giving everything to P.T. Barnum. Zelensky of Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars worth. And while he gave so much of the super high end away for free, he did not bother to replace it. Fortunately, I built the military in my first term and continue to do so. The United States is stocked and ready to win big. Look, an endless supply of ammunition. Don't tell me that God wasn't all over Donald Trump coming down that escalator. Don't tell me he hasn't been all over him, dodging bullets, dodging the doubters, dodging the people who hate America. To my sons and to each of you who, as we do, are struggling some complicated times, don't ever lose hope or faith. Give it 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks and then try that doorknob again. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you got to hear Scott Jennings absolutely obliterate this news babe. She's such a hack, and you're going to love it. You deserve it. It's Hump Day next on the Wendy Bell radio program.
All right, I'm going to move this forward here past our commercial break, but in the meantime, I want to go ahead and share some information here with Rumble Wallet.
They can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters more now than ever.
Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button, and when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference.
Designed for patriots who stand tall, this cap captures the enduring spirit of liberty. The Liberty Bell stands proud this isn't a credit line they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your future. Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability.
Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom.
All right. Here we go. Enjoy.
It is amazing how this military offensive, Operation Epic Fury, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program, has literally forced Democrats to show us all in slideshow fashion their allegiances, because it's never with we the people. It's never us. It's never this idea that we're together. It's never this thing that we're Americans, and as Americans, the sky's the limit. If we would just stop squawking and fighting each other and believing people who suck, who really have never told us the truth and don't deserve our attention, imagine what we could achieve together. But these landmines, the Democrats, are all over the place, and now Trump has forced them with this offensive to support the Iranian mullahs and the Ayatollah and the members of his council and his supreme leadership and all of these. Do they not realize some of the god-awful things that have been going on in Iran? No, they don't. You know why? Because their mouthpiece, the media, don't tell them. And so if Trump is for it, they have to be against it to this degree where you do have a mental illness diagnosis called Trump derangement. Now, you're going to hear it right now as Scott Jennings on CNN is just basically saying, look, here's the deal. This was a necessary offensive. It was swift. It has been successful. This is an awe-inspiring attempt to rid the world of the most terroristic killer that we've seen, likely in our generation. This is the exchange, how Abby Phillip, the host of the program, interrupts him and tries to gaslight him by suggesting that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio falsely cited some Iranian ballistic missile threat to the homeland as justification for this operation. No, he's a terrorist. He wants to kill people. He chants death to America every single day. They've killed Americans. They lined up and killed 35,000 people just recently. What more do you need to know, Ab? There you go.
Look, the bottom line is, they don't want him to have ballistic missiles. They don't want him to have a nuclear program. They don't like that their Navy makes trouble for everybody in the Gulf. And that is the stated rationale. You could throw on other things. For the last 47 years, they have killed American troops. They've maimed American personnel. They've exported and funded terror around the world and around the region. And you seem to be suggesting we have no allies in this. I watched the president with the Chancellor of Germany today. He strongly supports what we're doing. The UK is feckless. Spain is feckless. But we have plenty of allies in the region and around the world who know we have done the right thing.
So to be clear, I just want to you just listed a bunch of things. None of them were an imminent attack. But Rita's question is actually
ballistic
about
missiles, Abby. Drones.
These
are imminent attack weapons.
What proof is there that there were ballistic missiles, that they actually had ballistic missiles that could reach the United States?
Reach U.S. bases. Look at your television. They're falling right now.
Iran has been attacking through their proxies U.S. military bases for some time now. Okay,
you want to keep that going, or
the argument that the administration may be making sometimes is that they might have had capabilities to attack the United States on the homeland. Where is the proof of that?
And U.S. intelligence that has been released has said that this was not at all
on our
Defense
facilities
Intelligence
in the
Agency.
region and our allies in the region.
Okay, so
it is not
what
in
about
dispute.
that? What about
What
about that is new?
What do you mean? What about it? It's not. It's not new. Other than to
What
say,
about that is new?
other than to say that the decision.
What about Let me put it another way. What about that is imminent?
Are you all?
Are
you all arguing that they are not?
No.
We're not prepared and are not currently firing. Missiles and drones into things.
It's not that. I mean, everybody understands the threat of Iran. It's been there, to quote Tom Cotton, for 47 years.
Yeah.
The question is, what changed in the last 30 days?
We got a president that had the balls to
changed
take
in the
care
last
of it?
30
I
days?
guess
That's the question.
You know what? Does Abby Phillip want to find out after we're attacked? What is she even talking about? Well, Abby, I've got somebody who's going to explain it to you. Don't take it from me. I'm not Iranian. I don't have extensive knowledge about the Middle East. I have a brain. But this is an Iranian woman who says, all of you who are defending Iran, are you out of your mind? You should probably shut your mouth.
I am an Iranian who lives in Tehran, and I can hear the sound of bombing outside. In case I'm dead tomorrow, I just want you to remember this. Please, shut up and don't use me against America or Israel to try and convince them to stop. We ask for this. We want this attack. And I know that you don't want to listen to us. You don't want to listen, but I'm going to give you the shorter version of why we want this. The reason is we had one option: to go and protest this bloody regime, and we did, and they killed 40,000 of us in 2 days. This is the last option we have. We ask for the help, and help is here. And I know I might die, and I don't care, because I'm willing to sacrifice my life for Iran. And you just shut up and don't use me to attack anyone or try to stop this. We want this. You don't understand. You're not in our shoes, so shut up. That was a message from one of our Iranian sisters, and she asked me to share this with you. So shut up. Yeah, if you don't want to support us, just shut up.
Just stop talking. Again, Abby, President Trump says, we have more than enough ammunition to fight forever. The question is, who's the bigger enemy? Iran, that hates America, or you, who hates America? When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, night-night, Jasmine. See you later, Crenshaw. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Results from the Texas primary coming up next. Interesting stuff on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All righty, folks. I told you should get into this, but I'm going to go ahead and save that for my daily news wrap-up. Let me click here on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I am following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here and let me copy the chats into a comment so that they will be a permanent part of this video. I feel that's important. Okay, when this live stream is over, these live chats will just kind of evaporate into cyberspace, I guess. So, boom, there it is, permanent. Folks, you still have time to give me another chat, though. I have 20 people watching right now. I just need 4 more people to give me a chat. 4 new people that hasn't chatted with me before this month. I only need 20. I got 20 watching right now, so I'm thinking that within the people that are watching now that somebody hasn't chatted to me this month. Just, give me a thumbs up or whatever, a thumbs down. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Okay, with that being said and my moaning and groaning, let me remind you that these videos that I share with you do come directly from the producers that created them. I've got the links to the videos right here in the description box. I've got the links to the producer's channel right here in the description box if you'd like to see other information that they have. Because the information that I share here, folks, are from people that have long time experience in reporting this information. Okay? They have close connections. They do their background research. They are in favor of making America great again. Not like that CNN clip you just saw on Wendy Bell. What is it with these people? I mean, when Obama was president in Syria and other places that he destroyed, that was okay. The Arab Spring, how they went in and just overthrew governments in the Middle East, that was just freaking fine. No problem. Even though none of those countries were actually offensive against the United States, as long as Obama and as long as Hillary wanted it, it was perfect. We came, we saw, we killed them. That's what Hillary said. Oh, and that was just so wonderful for the mainstream intercoursing media. Okay, whatever. But at any rate, these videos that I share with you are videos that I do post and share on Murtech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. Now, I'd like to share all this information with you, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do that. That's why I have my daily news wrap-up that's coming up here, and as soon as this video ends, I'm going to snap, and get it put together so I can get this started as soon as possible, because I've got 16 videos in here and about 13 hours worth of information, so I want to go ahead and get it moving. Wendy Bell, going to take off where we left off. Dan Bongino, going to take off where we left off. We the People News. McWater's Effect. American Center for Law and Justice. Hegseth reveals shocking update on Trump assassination plot. That sounds interesting. Tim Walsh exposed during crushing hearing on Minnesota fraud from Devorah Darkins. Tell you, got some great stuff here, folks. Please don't miss this. X22 report, his financial information and his geopolitical information. Barry Cunningham, got great stuff here. Again, don't miss it. You'll miss out on the truth that you're not going to get from the lying mainstream media, just like Cotton Ball talked about earlier. The mainstream media is brainwashing people. It's unbelievable. I'm trying to give you the truth from reputable people here. Okay, and with that being said, I do want to thank you for spending your time with me this evening. I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again in just a little bit later. But thank you so much, and may God bless.